And, I kind of said this before, but I sort of come from a pretty boisterous family where it was just easier for me to be a listener than a talker because, my mum never really drew breath. And so in acting, most of the actors that I admire are the ones that can.
What can you tell me about Calvin?
Why do you ask?
I mean, they're exactly the same.
He was a genius in this world and beyond.
My mind's playing tricks on me.
You're up there all by yourself.
I'm not here by myself.
You've seen him, haven't you?
Seen who?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. There you are. Ryan's connecting.
Oh my God, who's that lady in your background?
That's it's a cardboard cutout of this wrestler named Mandy Rose. So
Oh, I know who Mandy Rose is.
oh, you do? Well, there you go.
I mean, come on. I can't tell you that I know a lot, but I identify.
Okay, well, that's good. That's more than most. I actually get Britney Spears most of the time. It's like, no, that's
That's
not...
exactly what I thought, which I would have also been like, good for you. Look at Britney.
She covers up the cables from the neon, so there's a purpose. Ryan, how's it going?
Very well. Jim, is that that the colors that you're wearing? It's the colors of the Australian sports teams.
It is, but it's actually Brazil.
Oh,
So,
still too. Yeah, okay. You're sitting just high enough for me not to see it.
yeah, it's the you
Okay,
thought it was
yep.
the Socceroos, right? That's what.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
I
Close
love
enough.
my Brazilian brothers. Yeah, come on.
How are you guys today? Where are you guys in the world, basically?
I'm in LA.
Yeah,
Okay.
me too.
Oh, perfect. I'm in Chicago, and it's feeling like winter for sure. So
Nice.
Yeah, we're complaining like it's Chicago, but it ain't Chicago.
yeah, it's a pleasant 38 degrees. So
Oh, wow.
take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, it's not that cold.
I love it though. I want to move to the middle of a forest that has snow at
There
times.
you go. I mean, I'm in a Christmas mode already too.
Yes.
Are you guys Christmas people too? I'm curious. Do you like decorate and do all the activities?
I don't really do it yearly. It depends. If I'm going to have my family over, then I do it. I love the spirit of it. I love that everyone's kind of nicer and warmer around this time, which is so ridiculous, but they just do. And I love the family factor of it. For me, no
Good.
Christmas tree or not, I love the getting together, cooking for my family, talking, dancing, whatever, gifting each other stuff. I just love that part of it all.
Ryan, are you a big Christmas celebrator?
Well, I'm a sucker for a celebration for sure. Any kind of real reason, excuse, whatever it may be. Yeah, definitely. I think we need it now more than ever, don't we?
Certainly, yeah. It's a good way to end off the year always. So,
Yeah.
but hey, you guys got a movie out too towards the end of the year. Not a Christmassy movie for sure. A lot deeper than that. But when I initially was I didn't know where this was going. I'm like, it could be a horror, it could be a serious drama, like The Father, like that movie. I'm like, I didn't know where this was going, and it definitely kept me engaged throughout. I'm curious when you guys saw the script, Ryan, with you first. I'm gonna start like, wait, do I say anything in this movie? I can imagine that might have caught you by surprise initially. You guys want me to just like physically? I imagine it was so much harder for you not to really verbalize anything and just kind of do everything with your facials, which you did a hell of a job telling a story with your face, but that's kind of difficult. I didn't even realize till like I was watching this movie how difficult it is not to say much. But did it catch you off guard initially when you saw the script?
Well, it was a script that was pitched to me by my agent that sort of said, "Listen, you got offered this role. I'm pretty sure you're going to say no to it because you don't talk." I was like, that's he knows me well enough to know that you tell me I'm not going to like something and I'm probably going to like it. So I delve into it, and sure enough, there was a lot more to it than meets the eye. And I kind of said this before, but I sort of come from a pretty boisterous family where it was just easier for me to be a listener than a talker because my mum never really drew breath. And so in acting, most of the actors that I admire are the ones that can fill in the spaces in between the words. And when they cut to and they're not saying anything, it's just their reaction to someone else talking. That's when I think the real talking is going on. So I saw it as an opportunity to kind of delve into an area for an entire movie, pretty much, where you're communicating without any sense of sort of verbal acknowledgement. And at the end of the day, we as humans are kind of doing that anyway, in our own kind of unique ways. Um, and it was again an opportunity to be a part of an original story. This is something that seems to be a rarity in this day and age, where people are looking more towards sequels and prequels and rehashes than anything else. So to be thrown into the world of independent cinema, which is my happy place, seemed like a no-brainer.
Yeah, no, it's definitely different and unique. Natalia, speaking of talking, you talk for both basically here. You're overextending on a dialogue, not only talking for yourself, but the character's talking with herself, which I found interesting too, because he's silent and you're just kind of talking to yourself and hearing yourself. Was that weird or interesting or even difficult to do? Because I'm like, you consciously think about these things, but not verbalize it, and your character's verbalizing thoughts constantly. Was that a little bit of a challenge to just get used to that sort of thing, your inner thoughts coming out?
In regards to what Rye said, I completely agree. I was a dancer before I was an actor. I danced classical ballet for many years. And when I analyze why I got into ballet, I always loved the stage since I was 3. I think I wanted to act, but my voice terrified me because I had this voice since the day I was born. And I was bullied for it a lot. And because I was 7 years old and talking like this, by my brothers, not meaning to bully me or bother me with it, teasing, but the boys in school wouldn't chase me because I couldn't scream like a girl, like stuff like that. And so I became a dancer to be able to express without words. So I like acting without words much more. I'm afraid of verbality, if that's a word. I went to acting school and Shakespeare and all the very talky heads would terrify me, and I would do them because it was a challenge. But so that was definitely scary for me about going into Sophia, that I wasn't going to have anyone else fill the voices, that I was going to be a bit on my own unless I had a scene with Mark, Paul, or with Virginia, with the people that I did speak. But then this idea came over me of the actor that was going to play Ryan Alex was going to have to do what I love to do, which is this just expressing with your eyes, your body, and what he said, which I think is elemental in life and in acting, essential to acting, is listening. And there was a lot of that in this film, but listening without your ears. Ryan and I listened to each other constantly through our eyes and communicated through, and I think Sophia and Alex would have had that, Sophia would have had to read Alex without words, learning to read people without words. And Ryan explained it perfectly. I think that's the most beautiful part of what we do. And the most beautiful part of any scene that takes place also in life is the space in between. It's the reactions of people. I think when you're an actor, that's what you really observe out into the world. It's not the screamer, but the in between, the people, the person receiving the scream and the screamer. Is not so much the action or the reaction, but what happens in between them, what thoughts, what emotions, what anything gets brought up. And that was extremely interesting to me to play off of with Ryan. I was terrified of all that talking to myself. I had a really hard time. For example, the line I did the most in this movie was the line that she says, "Sophia, are you high?" And I'm a weed smoker. I've said that to myself multiple and I still couldn't get it right. I couldn't get it natural enough, because talking to yourself is such a vulnerable thing when you do on your own. You sometimes say things to yourself that you would never say in front of people. So it has to feel like that. And it became very hard for me. I also have a fear of my voice in terms of using it, not for myself, but in characters. So yeah, so there was definitely that part of being highly interested in being challenged by something that scares me, and then having the other actor do what I love to do, is acting and expressing without words and doing it with such beauty. So
What a
yeah.
role reversal. I mean, it's amazing how you fit Ryan's role, you know, of Alex, and he could probably do the other role, but it made you kind of go into the unknown in a sense, or, you know, kind of face your, in a sense, fears too, and challenge yourself, which I feel is, it's in a sense ideal too, to take the roles you guys did. Now, even hearing that from you individually, because it's a challenge, but it's also kind of overcoming fear and pushing yourself to do something that you might not be comfortable with. So that's really interesting to hear. You know, and just like your character still, the Sophia character, I found it interesting. The most quietness she had was when she was in the shower scenes. It seemed like that's the scenes that I noticed, that it's like that's the moment where she didn't have to speak and kind of take it all in. Did you notice that too? Those shower scenes were very unique, and in especially to this character.
Yeah, those shower scenes were wonderful. That house that we shot the shower scenes in didn't have hot water, so
Oh wow, well, that's tough then.
the shaking is also me freezing to death. Um, they were tough emotionally and everything, but yeah, they're quiet scenes. But again, you know, this is, I mean, I just love it so much. I can bite into it like a meal. The acting without words, those showers say so much of her state of mind, and she's not saying anything. So yeah, those definitely are the more quieter scenes, but they're quiet in voice, in you know, in speech, but not in actual like telling a story. They're very loud in that sense.
No question, yeah, because you feel what she's going through in that sense. You're, like I said, your facials, both of you, just tremendous job with facial work here, and that's a part of acting that sometimes goes overlooked. You know, you kind of hear about Ryan, like the talking, right? What we notice that, but the listening, the facials, the expression, that's powerful acting, because you're really trying to convey with senses that we're not used to, you know, kind of paying attention to, which is always the dialogue and the verbal. So,
Oh, absolutely, Jim. That's something that, you know, pretty much every indigenous culture uh, that talks about how language itself gets in the way of trueness,
yeah.
of one's own authenticity. You know, and yes, we are telling one story, but there is other stories to be told here, that sometimes, you know, over explaining things isn't the way. Sometimes just sitting in it and wrestling with it is a better way than kind of over articulating something. I do feel like language has taken the place of emotion in many ways in our society, and you know, to sort of get back to a more to get in touch with those deeper senses that we have, the sixth sense, seventh sense, eighth sense. They're all there, but we've sort of gone further away from it. You know, all animals kind of have it, and we just sort of tend to move further away from it.
Well said. You know, I want to wrap by asking, you guys work so closely with each other, and I feel like switching one of you would have been a different movie. You know, if there's another actor being cast in one of your roles, and that's why it worked out so well. And the way I hear it now coming from each of you, I'm gonna start with you, Ryan. What is your favorite thing you learned about Natalia while working on this film? I'm sure you guys got to know each other well, but what's your like a big takeaway about her as a person that stood out to you?
I have nothing but the utmost love for Natalia. We hit it off from like the get-go. She's a powerhouse of an actor, but also from a person, and not in a bombastic look at me type of way. Just in a very innate. She sits very deeply in her seat. Is not afraid to be vulnerable. Um, Not afraid to let someone else kind of take the limelight if that's what it means. And just you know, she knew everyone's name from the crew within like a day. It's something you never get, Jim. Like this, the level of pride that she took and being like number one on the call sheet, that was really important to me. Like, yeah, I understand that what we're doing is important, but we're not, this is not brain surgery, what we're doing. We're not kind of saving lives. So it's important to still be genuine and a good person underneath it all. And she was that and then some. Like we couldn't have had a better leader than her.
That's
Plain and
fantastic.
simple as that. Yeah, and it inspired me for when, for my next movie, if I ever get the chance to set a helmet, that I'll take tips from Natalia for sure.
Wow, that's wonderful. Natalia, it must be great to hear. What about Ryan that stood out to you too, working with him and just Ryan as the person that will stay with you?
Thank you, Rye. By the way, I want the recording of this. I'm gonna post it. Just kidding. Uh,
We can provide that.
thank you, Rye. So special. He started saying he's got a lot of love for me, and in the prior question that you had while he was answering, it's exactly the thought I had for him. You in some way fall in love with the people you kind of do these really profound things with him with, and it's a very unique love because we're the only witnesses to that madness, and you will hold that forever. And I've been in positions with many male actors that just are not in the realm that Ryan is in terms of his humanity and his kindness, and just a good heart. Like, it's so rare to find, as a woman, just a man, like he said about me, that doesn't have this fragile ego to be taken care of, and is willing to give you the spotlight when it's your turn, and is willing to play with you and take it from you when it's his turn, and give you this respect and this equity amongst everyone else. It's beautiful. It's something to be profoundly grateful for, and it's what I would wish for myself in every film I do, and for every other actor. Something I also loved about Ryan, we spoke about it with our previous interviewer, is that we're both athletes. We both are hard on our bodies in terms of asking of it a lot, and I just loved to find that kindredness between us, the desire to push yourself to the fullest potential. I've been there, where that part of me that he spoke about, where you're very intense and you're pushing yourself, really bothers the people I work with, because you become a mirror. I mean, if I'm willing to go that far, are you? And if they're not, they get kind of bothered, and every time I advanced, he would advance more. It was like we were both climbing this huge mountain, and the harder one went, the more it would inspire the other. And I was telling our previous interviewer of this scene where we were swimming in a pool that was literally frozen in the winter of California, very, very cold pool, shaking, and Ryan was willing to do the scene over and over and over again, whatever it would take. The death scene, the last scene of the film, we did it over and over again. He gave me the same amount of depth in his emotion over and over again. I've worked with actors that literally ask for their stunt double while you're giving your lines, and so you're acting, you're not acting with them, and when the camera's on them, they'll cry and do all that stuff. But just a partner that was willing to meet you, and that's extremely rare, and it goes beyond the talent. I mean, Ryan's an incredibly talented actor, but like he said, to be with someone that treats the cast and the crew and everyone as with the values that you like to come forth in life with is has no value, is priceless. So very grateful for that.
Thank you.
Perfectly said. I had nothing else after this to top this. This was beautiful, and you guys were the right fit for this film, and clearly there's a bond there that was formed on this movie that's going to probably last beyond the movie itself, and a friendship and connection like that is rare in this industry too, as you guys know. I'm sure in that case. So great job all around. Great work. Great, like I said, great facial work. Great expression of emotions on so many different sensible levels. I enjoyed watching you two perform on screen. And like I said, I've been a big fan of each of you throughout the years. So this is a cool moment for me to get to talk to you two.
Oh, so cool. Thank you so much, Jim. Awesome interview, man.
Thank you
Thank you.
guys. Really appreciate it. Hope you guys reunite again on another movie together. This
I
would be
do
great
too.
to see.
Yeah, so do we.
I
Yeah,
do.
Thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk to me.
you too, man.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Happy
Bye.
holidays. Thank you, Susan.
Yeah. Happy holidays.